Hello, welcome to Đồng Nai Radio and Television Station. Here comes the latest updates. The chairman of Đồng Nai People's Committee has just issued a document directing departments, branches, and localities to implement the Prime Minister's conclusions on the growth of the 7 key economic zones, researching and proposing solutions for the province to submit to the Ministry of Planning and Investment in July. Specifically, the chairman of the People's Committee of Đồng Nai Province requested departments and localities to focus on evaluating the results of implementing mechanisms, policy, and legal regulations on the development of the Southern Key Economic Zone, proposing key tasks and solutions for finance, credit, industry, agriculture, commerce, services, tourism, transport infrastructure, land and natural resources, etc., to send to the Department of Planning and Investment for summary and submit to the Provincial People's Committee to send to the Ministry of Planning and Investment in July. At the same time, departments and localities are required to advise the Provincial People's Committee to build an action plan so that both political system and the people in the area can effectively implement the targets of socio-economic development plans and state budget estimates in 2020 to ensure disbursement of all aside public investment in 2020 and the remaining capital from the previous year transferred, to deploy strong, synchronous, and effective solutions to attract investment, promote recovery, and develop post-pandemic production and business, to research and propose to the Provincial People's Committee preferential policies to support credit, electricity, water, transport infrastructure, logistics services, human resource assurance to serve the needs of large-scale high-tech projects and social-economic development in the province. According to the latest preliminary statistics of the General Department of Customs, the total value of Vietnam's imports and exports of goods in the first half of June reached 20.57 billion USD, up 3.3% compared to the second half of May 2020. Vietnam's trade balance of goods surplus reached 170 million USD, bringing the trade surplus from the beginning of the year to the end of June 15th to 3.75 billion USD. Specifically, in the first half of June, export turnover reached 10.37 billion USD, down 5.3% compared to the second half of May 2020. From the beginning of the year to the middle of June, the total export value of the whole country reached 110.56 billion USD, a slight decrease of 0.7% compared to the same period in 2019. Thus, accumulated from the beginning of the year to the end of June 15th, the total import and export value of the whole country reached 217.36 billion USD, down 2.3% over the same period in 2018. Regarding imports, the value of the first half of June reached 10.2 billion USD, up 13.7% compared to the second half of May 2020. By the end of June 15th, the country's total import value of goods reached 106.81 billion USD, down 3.9% compared to the same period in 2019. Thus, in the first half of June, Vietnam's merchandise trade balance had a surplus of 170 million USD. From the beginning of the year to the middle of June, the country saw a surplus of 3.75 billion USD. On June the 21st, one day after the attack that killed 3 people in Reading Town, about 65 kilometers from London, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that the government would not hesitate to amend laws to prevent the acts of terrorist attacks with knives. The statement was issued by British Prime Minister Boris Johnson hours after the knife attack killed 3 people in Reading. After initial investigations, British police claimed it was a terrorist attack. The suspect was a 25-year-old Libyan refugee named Kyrie Salauder. This person has been secretly investigated in 2019 due to many trips abroad involving extremist groups. However, the British intelligence agency later determined that this person had a mental problem, so the investigation ended and there was no preventive measure. Spain on June 21st reopened the border with most visitors from the EU and the Schengen region in order to increase the tourism attraction as the country lifted its state of emergency from March the 14th to prevent the spread of COVID-19. At airports, it is possible to see many passengers from abroad returning to Spain or from Spain returning home after months of blockade. Spanish Health Minister Salvador Illa said there were 3 control measures for tourists, namely passenger location cards with basic data about trip schedules and their health data, temperature check, and visual control to ensure visitors are healthy. That's the end of the news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.